Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who has joined us here on the program tonight. We thank you for being here as well. It's been a rough few days. I am just going to say that right now, right out and out. It's been a rough few days. And I appreciate all those who are with us tonight. We have a good family here. We have a great Emergency Management Associates family here that I'm very proud of. I'm very proud of each one of you here. You guys make it worth coming to work. You guys are always here for me, each other, and my own personal family. I appreciate each and every one of you. I have an Emergency Management Associates Facebook page, and I have my own Facebook page that I put together over the years. Today, I posted a meme about how important it is to talk about our families and to make sure each one of our members of our families knows that we love them. We need to remember who they are, what they mean to us. We need to remember the things that they have done to help us, to improve our lives, and also to make us the men and women that we are. I posted that. Within a matter of minutes, that post garnered probably close to 20 responses. I value that. I value that greatly. Each one of you, to me, means the world to me. My family means the world to me. You might say I'm a little bit nostalgic today, and that could be rightfully so. But there's a reason for that. There's a very good reason for that. We are in a place in our society. We're very much in a place in our society where personal things don't matter. Our lives don't matter. And that most people don't give a hoot and holler about anybody, and our lives could be snuffed out. In just a minute, a blink of an eye. Will anybody care? Does anybody care now? What you need to know is that there are people that care about you. There are people that care about each one of you. A lot of people over the years have buried their parents, or they have buried a child. I have been at those funerals. I've been very much at those funerals and have mourned with those that lost their family members. What does it mean? What does it mean? Earlier today, I posted a meme. I also posted a song by two men and a woman. A woman, I should say, two men and a woman. A song that was popular in the early 60s called Puff the Magic Dragon. When I was a little boy, I often went to work with my father. Whenever that song came on the radio, he started singing, and he'd goad me into joining him in song. When I heard that song on the air today, it brought back those memories of my dad and I rocking and rolling down the road in his pick-em-up truck, going to build somebody a fireplace, or build a rock wall, or do whatever else my dad was working on. Singing Puff the Magic Dragon. I love that. Even though at the time, my dad teased me. He teased me about how great it was to sing with him and to sing with me. Oh, how I wish today that I could go back and sing a crazy song or sing a more meaningful song with my father or my mother. I love them. Now, why am I telling you this story? One day, your parents or your children or someone that you value dearly in your life is no longer going to be here with you. And you're going to wish that they were. You're going to have these memories or have a memory jogged like I did this morning. A memory from long ago that means so much to me, and that might mean so much to you. Your parents are your parents. I don't care if they call you 5 times a day with the same story. That's okay. Listen to them, because one day you're going to want to hear their voice. Quite a number of years ago, my father died. Prior to him dying, I had, 2 or 3 times a day that my dad would call. Sometimes I was at work and not able to take that call. But he always left me a message on my voicemail that meant so much to me. And I kept that voicemail on my phone for a long, long time, until my phone quit working. How I wish I could hear his voice again, saying, "Hello, Ron. This is your old dad." Oh, I wish that I could hear his voice again. There is a dear young lady whose husband passed away a very, very, very long time ago. My dad, when we moved to California, became very good friends of theirs. He taught them the gospel of Jesus Christ. When Brother Thomas died, it was suddenly. He had heart problems. My dad was so sorry and felt so bad for his wife, Irene, but even more sad that he had lost one of his best friends. I've lost a great many family members. I've lost a great deal of friends over the years. I miss them. Sister Thomas is still alive. She left me a message almost immediately saying, "Mine are gone too. I wish I had recorded them. I am missing them all so very much." This is what I had to say as well. I miss my parents. I miss those people that have meant so much to me. There are a lot of people that have passed on this week. I'm going to pay tribute to some of them as well tonight. I'm going to talk about things that are happening in our society that we need to think about, that we need to take notice of, that we need to make sure that we are also trying to help our fellow man, and thus make our neighborhood, our state, our city, our country a better place to live. I want to thank all of our mods that are here on our channel. I love them like family members. I love all of you as I love my own family members and even my wife. I love them. I love you, and I always have, ever since I first got to talk with you, either here in the chat or on a phone, a message, an email. I value your companionship. When I get a letter from you, I get all excited. My heart goes pitter-patter. I get cards and letters and little notes and donations and everything. I value those cards and letters and donations. It means a great deal to me because I know that you're thinking of me, and I'm also thinking of you. I got a donation in PayPal yesterday. I want to thank S. Snort for her donation. S. Snort and I have been very good friends now over the years, as she had become a member of our EMA family. She's not able to watch us live too much right now because she has her family with her, and they end up making dinner together during the same time period that we're on air live. I love you guys. S. Nord, thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for your donation to our EMA cause here, keeping this show on the air. And truly, each one of you, when you donate, it goes to keep this show on the air. I appreciate you guys helping me get a new computer so that I can go on the air. Now, I have been using a tablet. I've been using my phone to stay on the air. It's been hard sometimes, but it's worked. I've also had a hard time showing you pictures and giving you an idea of what's going on, sharing earthquakes and other events and incidents that are happening around the world. I have this computer here to help me help you. And that means more than anything to me. It means a lot. So that I can stay in contact with you and share with you things that are going on that you need to know about. Tonight, I want to start this program off by talking to you about a grave event that happened Monday afternoon this week. 8 police officers in Charlotte, North Carolina, just north and east of me, were shot. 3 officers, marshals with the U.S. Marshal's Office, and one other law enforcement officer, LEO, from Charlotte, were killed. I'm going to talk briefly tonight about what happened. I want everybody to know what happened. In this neighborhood here, it's called the Shannon neighborhood in Charlotte. It's usually a very quiet neighborhood. Monday afternoon at 1:30, the fugitive task force with the U.S. Marshal's Office, assisted by local officers that had also been assigned to the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force went to this home in Charlotte, and they were immediately met with gunfire. Three U.S. Marshals were killed immediately. Another officer named Officer Elliott, who is with the North Carolina Office of Custody. He was a custody officer at a jail, but he had been asked to be part of the Fugitive Task Force. A total of 8 officers were gunned down. 4 officers were killed. 4 officers were killed. This is hard. Those of you that know me understand that I was a law enforcement officer. So when things like this happen, I'm deeply affected. And I appreciate your help with me, helping me to tell you the story. At 1:30 Monday afternoon, the Fugitive Task Force went over into this neighborhood to serve us an arrest warrant. The gunman, a 39-year-old Terry Clark Hughes Jr., was shot and killed in the front yard of the home. Terry Clark Hughes was shot and killed. He was the primary person that was listed on the arrest warrant. 2 other suspects were shot and taken to the hospital and are now being questioned by law enforcement. Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department officials confirmed the gunman Hughes, who shot first, was the person who was being served the search warrant. Officers said that he was wanted for a possession of a firearm by a felon. Felony flee to elude officers. 2 counts. 2 counts of not paying attention to police officers and eluding officers who were going to make the arrest. Those 2 felony counts came out of Lincoln County, North Carolina. The firearm possession was also a felony because he was a felon. Felons can no longer possess firearms, even though Joe Biden is trying to turn that over, allowing felons to vote. Allowing felons to vote. Once you're arrested and go to prison, the protocol is you lose your rights. You lose your rights to vote. You lose your rights to be able to possess a firearm. This man met his fate. He was wanted by the police. He tried to get away. He fired at federal law enforcement officers, including the Charlotte Mecklenburg officer who was shot and killed. The Charlotte Mecklenburg police officer who was shot and killed had been part of the Fugitive Task Force, making him a U.S. Marshal. 4 people died as a result of the shootout this past Monday afternoon. 3 members of the U.S. Marshal Service, including Officer Alden Elliott, Samuel Pelosi, and Thomas Weeks Jr., all died from their injuries. Charlotte Mecklenburg police officer Joshua Iyer also died during the shootout. 3 more Charlotte Mecklenburg police officers were wounded. One of the officers went into surgery and is still recovering in the hospital. 2 other officers were treated for gunshot wounds but released from the hospital. Another officer that had responded there suffered a broken foot. Sad. Yes, sad. But he got lucky. Law enforcement officials said that they also found an AR-15 rifle and a handgun. They also found additional magazines and ammunition for all of the weapons. Officers said there was heavy gunfire. The neighbors in the surrounding area also reported heavy gunfire. At least 100 rounds were exchanged during the shooting. Investigators said they are still processing the area and getting evidence from the home. Officers from the police department who were injured, who were not members of the task force, but were responding to the scene. Charlotte-Mecklenburg police said 12 of their officers fired their service weapons and are now on administrative leave, which is standard protocol. They're not able to again work as police officers until the investigation is finished. Why am I picking this officer out? Each officer that was shot, each officer that was killed has family. Each officer that was shot and killed and shot had family, brothers and sisters. The officers were fathers. They were uncles. They were role models for their children. Officer Alden Elliott from the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction was named as a task force officer assigned to the U.S. Marshal Carolina's Regional Fugitive Task Force. Countless memorials have been written this week for the 4 officers that were slain in Charlotte on Monday. But one stands out for its simplicity and its focus on details. Only a child would notice. That's because the obituary for William Alden Elliott was written by his 12-year-old son. Theo James Elliott, who saw his dad as something other than just an officer with the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction. The tribute is just 16 lines long, but it is a list of all the things that Theo knew to be true about his father, including his favorite sport, his favorite video games, and one unfulfilled promise involving a dirt bike. Officer Elliott was a Marine. He is a police officer. He is kind and patient. He keeps my mom and I safe. He is my daddy. The best daddy. Officer Elliott and his son drew this drawing. This drawing happened to make its way into Pokemon. Theo Elliott wrote, "Today is a heavy day. The last 12 hours have been truly heartbreaking for all. We are continuing to support and lean on our law enforcement community as we navigate yesterday's tragic attack on officers. My prayers go out to the family and friends of Officer Joshua Iyer. End of watch. April 30th, 2024. Theo wrote, "We love playing video games together. I have a Shazard that you all see here on your screen. This Shazard is a Lizardon, who is a dual-type fire-flying Pokemon that was introduced in Generation 1. It evolves from a chameleon starting at level 36. And my dad helped me get it graded. He and I have watched every Star Wars movie and series. My daddy loves playing and watching baseball. His favorite team is the Dodgers. Theo's father was killed Monday, April 29th, as a contingent of law enforcement officers converged on a home in the Shannon Park neighborhood and exchanged gunfire with other 4 officers that died, and 4 others were wounded. Elliot, 46, was a 14-year veteran with the department who came to the Shannon Park neighborhood as part of his role to assist the U.S. Marshal's Office with the Regional Fugitive Task Force. A memorial for Elliot with military honors is scheduled for next week, 6 p.m., Thursday, May 9th, at the Tarleton Complex on the campus of the Catawba Valley Community College in Hickory, North Carolina. Specifics of his death have not been released, but Theo knows his dad, a hero. Quote, getting the bad guys, unquote. That's what he was so good at. He was the best man I ever will know. And Theo wrote, and I hope to be just like him. The obituary concludes with Theo revealing his dad got him a dirt bike when he turned 12 years old. He bought himself one too, so that we could ride together. I will learn how to ride it, and we will ride together one day, Daddy. William Alden Elliott, my daddy. What a tribute by a beautiful young man. I look forward to attending the ceremonies for this officer and the other 3 officers who passed away as a result of this horrible event this past Monday. The entire state is mourning the passing of these fine law enforcement officers. The entire state and the entire nation is got the flags at half staff as a result of the deaths of these fine officers. I pay tribute to them as well. A fellow law enforcement officer, a father, a brother, and a son. I look forward to meeting you again. God be with you until we meet again. Thank you for being our friend, a father, a son, and a brother, and a husband. God be with you until we meet again. It's been everything that I could do to be able to talk this story or tell you this story. It's hard. It's very hard. On Monday, I spoke of 2 officers in San Diego, and these are not the only 2 officers whose funerals that I went to. Shot out of the air by gangbangers. One day, those gangbangers will pay the price if they have not already. Brothers and sisters, we all need to be cognizant of where we're at and what we're doing. We need to be very careful. Things continue happening all over the world. They make us very wary of why we're here and what we're going to be doing to protect ourselves. Brothers and sisters, I am going to admonish you to be very cognizant of the world about you, your neighborhood, where you're going, the people you are with. Be very cognizant of the world around you. Do not put yourself in a position where something could happen to you or your family because you were where you were at. Be cognizant of what's going on. During the past 3 weeks, we've seen demonstrations, protests, and riots literally all over the world because of who we are. Because of who we are. Because of our support for Israel. For our support of the 10 tribes of Israel. For our support of God. People hate us because we love God. People hate us because we worship God. If we even speak of Jesus Christ, all of a sudden we have haters. On this program, I have been talked down to, ridiculed, harassed, as many of you have as well, by trolls that have nothing better to do than come into our living rooms to harass us because of our beliefs. Be cognizant of your environment. Know who's around you at all times. Be very careful. On our college campuses and in our cities and neighborhoods worldwide, there have been demonstrations against Israel, demonstrations against the United States of America, demonstrations against England, against Switzerland, against anyone who is an ally to the United States of America. During the past 3 weeks, we have seen riots on highways in San Francisco blocking the San Francisco Bay Bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge in New York, our access roads to our campuses, our colleges and universities. We've seen our colleges and universities invaded by encampments of people that hate us and hate what we represent. I want to show you this. This is typical of each of the encampments all around the universities and colleges in the United States. The same color, same size tents. I had a picture of signs, but somehow it did not make it to this program. Same signs. The same lettering. The same sayings or chants on the signs. Why? Because, folks, there are people that hate us. People that hate us. George Soros has paid millions of dollars to these people to come together to protest against the United States, to protest against Israel. George Soros hates us. George Soros hates anybody that has anything to do with President Trump. George Soros hates anyone who steps in front of him and calls him for what he is. George Soros is himself a terrorist. George Soros is one of the people that helped bring in the CB. Now they're coming after us again. They're coming after our homes. They're coming after our students in college, at the universities, indoctrinating them, trying to take our children away from us. And they don't care. They don't care. The mayor of LA, Karen Bass, did not even lift a hand until last night. Governor Newsom of California did nothing to stop these neo-Marxists and Antifa agitators that they love so much. Then violence ensued. Violence ensued. The governors did squat. The mayors did squat. Why? Why did they do that? Because they have nothing better to do. They have nothing better to do. Here's a picture of Governor Newsom. This is a picture of Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. They didn't do anything until last night. I'm going to say this as well as every other politician that's also come out against what they have or haven't done. Newsom and Karen Bass and FBI Chief Christopher Wray. This is on your back. This happens to be on your watch. And you are responsible for what has happened. Not wanting to stand for what is right. Now, LA Mayor Bass is telling us the violence unfolding last night is abhorrent and inexcusable. Why didn't she say that last week when it first started? Last night, Mayor Karen Bass ordered Los Angeles Police Department onto the campus at USC and UCLA. It took LAPD and LA Sheriff's Office 3 hours to assemble enough LAPD officers and LA Sheriff's officers and other departments' officers to those campuses to take control of the college campus. Why did they wait all that time? This all could have been prevented. The violence, the looting, the destruction of property, fires, people getting beat up. People got beat up at these riots. It's sad. They did nothing. They didn't do squat. This is the note that Governor Newsom put out last night. I condemn the violence at UCLA last night. The law is clear. The right to freedom of speech does not extend to inciting violence, vandalism, or lawlessness on campus. Those who engage in illegal behavior must be held accountable for their actions, including a thorough criminal prosecution, suspension or equivalent, expulsion. Governor Gavin Newsom. Isn't that interesting? They would let the college be torn apart, occupation of buildings, property destroyed, and people getting beat up. They would allow that to happen and not do anything about it until last night. Now, folks, the press is saying us, you and I, caused this. The press is telling us that this is our responsibility because we did not hold our leaders to be responsible. I call on these leaders to resign immediately, effective immediately, because these leaders were not real leaders when it was time to stand firm. Governor Gavin Newsom, you need to step down immediately. LA Mayor Karen Bass, you're also responsible for this in California. You need to resign immediately. UCLA is descending into a complete Lord of the Flies chaos. I'm going to ask a question. Who told the police to stand down? Who told the police to stand down? Madam Mayor, I would like an answer. Mr. Newsom, I'd like an answer. One of you told the cops to stand down. Who has allowed these illegal encampments at the college campuses? Not just at USC, UCLA, Columbia, or any other university, including over in Ohio. Who allowed it? Why did the UCLA chancellor do nothing for days? Who told them to stand down? Sadly, colleges have ruined their brand. A college degree has become less valuable with graduates full of entitlement and unfounded woke beliefs, as well as convincing police and businesses are evil. Our own students at these colleges and universities are convinced that the police and businesses are evil. So tragic for America's future. The Biden administration is also considering bringing certain Palestinians to the United States as refugees, a move that would offer a permanent safe haven to some of those fleeing war-torn Gaza. Are those the only people that are going to be allowed to come into the United States? We're already allowing terrorists to be here. Every person that was at the Columbia University riot and the encampment, every person was an illegal alien except for one person. 300 people were arrested. Every one of those except for one person was an illegal alien that was brought into the United States by Joseph Biden. Is this really what we want to have happen in our country, in our world? It's not just happening in the United States, it's happening at universities and college campuses around the globe. France, Germany, Austria, Belgium, Sweden. It's happening all over the world. What's going to happen? Nothing. Those people, those young people who are destroying our world, have been allowed to be here illegally. Columbia expected to expel and suspend all college students that were in there at the encampment and rioting and destroying a building and property. But none of those 300 people that were arrested by the police were students. They were illegal aliens. The same thing is true at UCLA and USC. The same thing is true over at Yale and Harvard and all the other universities and colleges around the world. Those protesting are brought into this country from outside. They're being paid by Soros and other elites to destroy us. I was always told when I was young, beware of people inside the United States that might hurt you. Watch what you're doing. When I became a federal police officer, my dad said, watch your back. If things get so bad that you need to turn and run, do it. Walk away. No, Ron, run away. I stayed for a long time, 24 years in law enforcement. I was so grateful when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, that they were going to lay us off. Because Biden and his dirtbag President Obama in 2009 decided they were going to cut the law enforcement budget. And I was gone. As well as 11 other federal law enforcement officers here over in the western region of the U.S. And federal law enforcement across the country laid off because Obama cut the budget. Because Obama hated police. Obama wanted to transform America and get rid of police. That's why he did it. And we have people here that I'm showing you right now in California and in Los Angeles that don't like us, that want to do harm to us, and they don't care one whit about us. Folks, I don't know what else I can say. We all need to stand tall. We all need to stand tall and not let these people get to us. We need to stand tall and tell our children, come home. Come home. We don't need to pay our children to get drunk and to get violent on their college campuses. There's one thing I learned when I was in college. I had a full-time job. I was paying for my own books and tuition, and occasional sandwich or breakfast, either on the way to school or on my way to work after I got out of school. I didn't have money to buy those tents that you saw that I showed you here tonight. Those tents were not bought by college students or university students. Those tents were paid for by people like George Soros to make sure people there, not students, but people who are meant to destroy us from inside our countries. I was told that this was going to happen when I was a kid. The people within our own country were going to destroy us. I heard that from many quarters, not just from my parents. You can go on to YouTube tonight after this program. Go and listen to Ezra Taft Benson. Listen to former Agricultural Secretary Benson, who at the time of the Eisenhower administration was a Secretary of Agriculture. Look what Secretary Benson said about Khrushchev and the destruction of the United States. That was back in 1964. You can listen to the speech, it's on YouTube. But everything that he meant or mentioned during that speech, everything that he mentioned has happened now. Our country is on the way to its destruction. And it's not just the U.S., but everyone that's affiliated with our country. Because the people that are in control have got their monies going to these fracture groups to get into our countries and to destroy it. This is happening. This is happening. Jeanette says so many visas given to foreigners to come to college. It's not that. It's illegal aliens. It's not foreigners, it's illegal aliens that came across the southern border during the last 3 years. Over 8 million people, over 8 million people have come into the United States and have settled into cities and counties and states all around the world here. And they're protesting. We've seen the protests in France. We've seen the protests over in Italy. The destruction of statues and history all over the world. And here in the U.S. We've seen it. Folks, it's not our citizens. It's people that have been invited to be here. But why am I talking about it? Because it's up to you and I to help stop it. It's up to you and I to help stop it. We have to stand up. We have to stand up and say no more. We have to stand up and be true to ourselves and our families and to our parents and grandparents who raised us. We need to stand up and say no. We're not going to put up with this any longer. Cowboy Roy Rogers is here in my chat again. I appreciate you being here, brother. He says, God wins, evil fails, hallelujah. He does. Right now, people are losing their lives. I saw a video that I could not put on my air or they would take down my channel. A video shot from the University of Southern California last night. And another video from UCLA last night. People at those schools on campus with tuba-4s and tuba-2s and baseball bats and golf clubs, beating up people, smacking them in the head, smacking them in the neck and the back, hurting people, sending people to the hospital. Now, I've also seen pictures of law enforcement spraying tear gas and pepper spray over these encampments. And yet, our law enforcement officers are being called pigs, saying we're being too heavy-handed. I don't think so. Why do I say that? I don't think our law enforcement officers are being too heavy-handed because the violence starts at the beginning. The violence starts on campus. That's where the violence is. The police are meeting violence with resistance. The police have been told, and I was told when I was a cop, I was told as a police instructor that police officers can only use that force which is reasonable and necessary to stop the assault, and no more. That force which is reasonable and necessary to stop the assault, and no more. That is what the cops were doing. That's what the cops were doing at Yale, at Harvard, at Columbia, over in New York, in Atlanta, Ohio, over in California, and over at the University of Austin in Texas, or University of Texas at Austin. The police were saying they were being told they were overhanded. No, they weren't. The police were met with violence. And the police used that force which was reasonable and necessary to stop the violence and to make the arrests. Now, what happened when the police started making the arrests 2 weeks ago? At first, only a dozen people were arrested. 5 or 10 people arrested. What happened? Those people were booked and released. Booked and released because the Obama-Biden administration has been telling the police, don't arrest them, let them go. The police arrested them to stop the violence at the time, but let them go. So those people that had been arrested are going back out into the community to hurt people and to continue the violence and the assault on our country. That's where it stops. Biden, the Biden administration, not just Biden himself, his entire administration, all of his advisors are just as guilty as he is. And I don't care one whit whether someone says that he's incompatible with being president. I don't care whether they say he has to wear diapers. I don't care if he says he doesn't know what he's doing. It's very apparent he doesn't. It's very apparent to me he does not have a clue what he's doing. And they say you can't arrest somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. You can't try them for treason if they don't know what they're doing. Biden has a puppet master. Barack Hussein Obama, George Soros, just to name 2. Everybody needs to be taken down. Everybody. Christopher Wray with the FBI. If you or your associates hear my voice tonight, you need to resign. The head of our Department of Justice, you need to resign. You're not doing your darn job. Resign. Immediately. Jack Smith in New York. Alvin Bragg in New York. Resign. Judge Marsham in New York. Resign. You were as guilty as Mr. Biden. You've been taking orders from Mr. Biden to go after Trump. The house of cards is coming down, and you need to resign before you all go to prison yourselves, and that's where you belong. I don't give a flying rat's butt. Everybody that I've mentioned tonight needs to go to prison. Every one of these people needs to be in jail. Any of the people making all kinds of hate and discontent in Colorado, where I used to live, you guys need to get the hell out of Dodge. You don't belong there. You don't belong there. If you think I'm crazy, don't try me. Don't try me. If any judge has one of these illegal aliens brought before them, arrested, you must right now, without questioning anything, you must keep them in jail. Do not release them back out into society. And make it a plan right now. If they are arrested and you are a judge, you sentence them to deportation immediately. And you make sure they get on a plane and they are all put on a plane and deported to their countries immediately. Do it. Judges, stand for something. Stand for something. Stand for your darn country. Forget Biden. Forget Obama. Forget him. The judge in Washington, D.C., I don't remember her name, who wants to go after President Trump in D.C., you need to resign as well. Because if you get going in Washington, D.C., your name is grass. Your name is grass, and you're going to be held accountable as well. Little old lady in Georgia, she thought she could go after President Trump. Then all of a sudden her house of cards falls apart. It's found that she was getting in cahoots with Biden every day, with the Biden administration every day. She was using money paid to her by the Biden administration and the state of Georgia to go after President Trump. And during that same time, using that money to take her lover on cruises and take him other places. He was also a prosecutor. Why are they still in charge with jobs? They should be fired immediately. Violation of public domain. Violation of their oaths of office. If I had done this in any job that I ever held, I would have been fired. I would have been serving time. Each and every one of these people should be serving time, not in their jobs, but in a prison. Okay? Jeanette is saying here in the chat, dang it, only law enforcement officers are the only ones doing something. I'm talking to each and every one of you. It's not only law enforcement officers that should be doing something. Each and every one of us are also responsible for making sure that the police do their job, and that our governors, our legislators are doing their jobs. If they're not, they don't belong there and they need to be removed from office. They can no longer stand. Period. End of discussion. They can no any longer stand. If they're voted back into office, it's only because people like Joe Biden, Barack Obama, George Soros, and the other elites that were at Davos earlier this year. Yes. I also happen to know that there is a document that was found on the NASA website that is talking about humanity here in the United States being erased by 2025. I've seen the document. I'll be darned. They want humanity gone by 2025. Allegedly on a NASA website. Well, folks, I'm getting into that. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to stand up for that which is right. I'm going to make sure that people that are doing these evil deeds are going to be held responsible, and I cannot be the only one doing it. I need all of you, your family members, all of your friends and everybody to help me get these people gone. We need to show up before November 5th. Yes, November 5th is Election Day, but we need to make sure that we are already on that way to taking these people down. I don't want physical violence. I don't want any of that. But folks, we have to do something to stop this assault on us. We have to do something to stop this assault, or they're going to take us. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let that happen. I'm just telling you. We need to do that thing we have to do to stop what's going on. In doing this program, standing up and doing this program, I've been talking about earthquakes, fires, hurricanes, floods, rain, all kinds of stuff happening. We've been talking about it for years now. But the problem is the government. With USGS, with the earthquakes, the managers of the USGS are being told by the politicians, don't tell everybody what's going on. Do your best to disguise what's happening so that people don't get it. So people won't realize what's going on until it's too darn late. So the politicians will stay funded. Because people are still in place, making sure their taxes are paid, to pay the politicians. Things are already coming to roost. Now, I was going to show you a lot of earthquakes happening in the Pacific Northwest. Guess what? Nothing's changed yet. The same thing was happening on Monday and Thursday, and Monday the previous week are still happening. We're still getting tremors. We're still getting minor earthquakes at the volcanoes. We're still getting small and moderate earthquakes at the volcanoes. It's still happening. It's not going to stop. I can show you documents, but it doesn't mean anything. If anything changes, I will tell you about it. But right now, it's the same old news. The volcanoes that I've talked about, Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens, are still about to erupt. It's clear. The seismic energy caused by the magma down underneath these volcanoes is still hitting. It's still going. Nothing's changed. Mount Shasta and Mount Lassen in Northern California, the same thing's going on. On Tuesday, I showed you earthquakes that are happening in Southern California. What happened yesterday? Remember that alleged 4.1 earthquake in Corona, California, yesterday afternoon? They said it was a 4.1. It came out as a 4.4. Folks, that earthquake in Corona, California, yesterday afternoon was a 5.4 large quake. I spent 3 hours adding up all the seismic information from the different sensors around Los Angeles. 284 sensors reporting. 284 sensors reporting that alleged 4.1 earthquake. As I showed you last night, a lot of those sensors not just showing 4.1. A lot of those sensors, and I'm going to say 50% or better of the sensors, showed 5.1, 5.2, 5.7, 4.5, 4.7, 4.8. That was not a 4.1 earthquake. I showed you how the USGS tried to disguise everything, where they showed a 4.13 earthquake, but refused to show details. Refused to show details. What kind of crap is that? Calling for an earthquake as a 4.1 when it came out as a 4.4. And not showing details to prove it. USGS, I've caught you lying again. And again, and again, and again. I am going to continue pulling information on all of these quakes now, not just 6s or 7s. I'm going to pull information on every darn quake that you list as a 4.0 or larger, because you are lying through your frickin' teeth. Managers of USGS, I'm putting you on notice. I am going to hold you responsible. Lucy Jones, don't go on a media channel in Los Angeles and say it's only a 4.1, no big deal. Don't do it. That was a 5.4, a large earthquake. It caused damage in Los Angeles. It caused damage in Los Angeles, and you all tried to cover it up. You've done it before. You did it in 2014 on the day when I was asked by the office of Los Angeles to come and fly from Salt Lake to LA to assist you all in figuring out what happened and helping your city to recover. I did. At that time, I was told that it was a 4.5 earthquake by KTLA newsman anchor Carlos Amezcua, who's no longer there, and his partner in crime. I don't remember her name, but Carlos was a friend of mine. When he said there was an earthquake, it was a 4.5, I thought, gee whiz, how does KTLA know that so quickly? 4.5. It was a larger earthquake than that. At the time, I did not go into the background and try to figure it out. But I went there and I saw window panes and glass doors and everything fractured beyond compare. Windows and glass all over LA, broken. Water mains broken. Oil and gas lines broken in Los Angeles with a 4.5 earthquake. My gosh, how stupid are they? It was not a 4.5 earthquake then, and it's not a 4.4, not a 4.1 earthquake now. I caught you, USGS. I caught you, and I'm going to continue to catch you, and I am going to hold you responsible. As soon as we get a president in office, I'm going to talk to the President of the United States, and I'm going to show the President all the documentation. I promise, because I have it. I have probably many hundreds of data files. I don't know, maybe 1,000 data files that I've been keeping over the past 5 years, maybe longer. There is plenty of evidence to suggest the USGS has been lying for a very long time. I'm standing up with you. I'm going to stand up for all of you, not just in this country, but around the world. I've been standing with the people, the scientists in Iceland, and the people in Iceland. They have real problems. They have a volcano that's still erupting, that has been erupting on and off since November 5th last year. Usually that volcano stops erupting after a few days or a week. Now it's been over a month that thing's been erupting. And now some lava has breached a north-facing wall of Grindvik. Some lava has worked its way through that defense wall, has gotten into Grindvik. Not enough, severe enough to cause major damage, but it happened. It's happened. Those walls, guys, those walls are over 20 meters high. Those defensive walls around Grindvik, around the Blue Lagoon, and around the Svartsengi power plant, 40 meters high. The wall in Grindvik the lava came through the defensive wall, not over it. It tried to go over it, but the officials in Iceland stopped the flow over it and raised the wall even higher. It got through it. Now the people in Iceland have another problem. Just so you know. Just so you know. The authorities in Iceland have now put out a policy where they are going to buy out every person that has property in Grindavik. They're going to buy out every family that owns a house in Grindavik to give them money to buy a house somewhere else. But giving them an option also at some point in time, if they are allowed to go back to Grindavik and live, that they can. The question is this: if people are going to be forced out of Grindavik and they work there in Grindavik, what about those businesses? What about those commercial businesses in Grindavik? Are those commercial businesses going to be bought out by the insurance company as the destructive insurance company is buying out the houses? Are they also going to buy out the businesses? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But I've been almost in weekly contact, well, it's actually been at least weekly contact with people in Iceland and with authorities in Iceland for the past 3 months. Actually 4, since January. I keep track of what's going on. Diane Kelman says, yeah, you said we just got bumped off. I saw it here too. I saw it here too. It's already proven that YouTube doesn't like me. YouTube does not like me telling the truth. It would not surprise me that when I try to load this program on social media, that they may have taken it down. It could happen. Or by tomorrow, they'll take it down. Because I have so strongly come after the government. I've not threatened anybody, but I'm promising to reveal the information. That's a fact. That's a fact. Now, I want to tell you this, okay? I have something else to show you here. I have something else to show you. I want to show you a USGS map. Yeah, where's that? I want to show you this USGS map, guys. And this is kind of important. Right now, I'm showing you the Aleutian Islands. Let's zoom in here. I want to show you what's actually going on. Okay? I want to show you what's happening. Because I feel that you need to know about it. Let me take my mug down here for a minute. I don't know what happened here. Isn't this something? Well, gee whiz. This is really something. Okay, I'm going to do something here real quick. I'm not going to end this program, but I'm going to take this map off and put it back on. That way I can show you what I need to show you. There has been a large earthquake in the Aleutian Islands, just south of the peninsula of Alaska. A 5.5 earthquake, and a bunch of aftershocks as well. Now, folks, this should be concerning to everybody. Why am I saying that? Folks, we've been talking about earthquakes over in Alaska for a long time period. A bunch of time. Okay? A bunch of time. Why would I be worried about it? Because the earthquakes that have been hitting over in the South Pacific have been hitting there for quite some time. And that energy has moved north. That energy has moved north, guys. What's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with this picture? I'm going to show you what's wrong with this picture. Just a second here. This is crazy. This is real crazy. I set this up so I can just show you this real easily. And I'm still going to do that. And again, they don't want me to do it. It's apparent. Okay, you're seeing this earthquake here over where we have been seeing earthquakes for some time. Nikolsky, Alaska. I just highlighted this one in blue. This one is a 4.0 aftershock. A 4.0 aftershock of a 5.5 that hit early this morning. Let me open this up further. You're going to see all the earthquakes that have happened today. I should not say all of them because USGS is holding earthquakes back. Okay? They've been holding a lot of earthquakes back. But I'm hoping to show all this so you can see what's happening. This earthquake earlier was a 5.5, and it may have been larger than that. Now they're saying this is a 5.4. A 5.4. This earthquake happened at 0310 this morning Eastern Time. 3:10 this morning Eastern Time. I'm not even going to give you an idea of what time that happened over in Alaska. Alaska has its own time zone. But this was 3:10 a.m. this morning Eastern Time. A 5.4. This may have been even larger than that. I want to show you this earthquake northwest of there. If it's going to allow me to show you. Yeah, there we go. This is the 5.5. This is the 5.5. This actually happened at 2:58 a.m. this morning. 12 minutes before the 5.4. Okay? 62 miles south-southwest of Nikolsky, Alaska. This is the biggest earthquake of the day. This is the largest earthquake of the day. A 5.5 here, 62 miles south-southwest of Nikolsky, Alaska. Right next to it, here's a 5.3. This one happened at 3:06, 8 minutes after the 5.5. This earthquake just north of there, right next to it. This is a 5.1. This occurred at 3:01 a.m., 3 minutes after the 5.5. Do you see what I'm seeing? Large earthquakes happening one after the other after the other. I've been telling you that earthquake energy, the seismic energy, has been moving north. We've seen the energy going up the east side of the Kamchatka Peninsula, along earthquake tectonic plates. And I've been telling you that seismic energy is going through the Aleutian Island Fault Zone. That's what we're seeing here. A 5.5 earthquake here today, as well as a bunch of other 5s as well. 5.1, 5.3, 5.4. And these are not the only earthquakes that have hit. There's about 20 different aftershocks. About 20 different aftershocks today. This is only what USGS wants us to see. Why did I want to show you this? I've got a very good reason. Folks, this seismic energy that's been moving up from the South Pacific is now up here in the Northern Pacific, near the Baltic Sea as well. I don't believe it's going to go further north. Right here. It's not going to venture into the Baltic Sea on the other side of the Aleutian Island Fault Zone. This seismic energy is going to continue going northeast. If it doesn't continue going up here into the Alaskan Gulf, it's going to go up here through the peninsula of Alaska, up here, probably to Anchorage, Alaska. Probably up here to the north of Anchorage, Alaska. Why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about it? In 2019, right after I came on the air, we reported on a 7.1 earthquake in Anchorage, Alaska. We had several people living in Anchorage that were giving information to me and put me in touch with the mainstream media in Alaska, and I was able to show video of what was going on in Anchorage. Folks, this could happen again. It could happen again. 5 years since the 2019 7.1 in Anchorage. There is a lot of seismic energy already locked up in this area. Alaska, I'm putting you on an earthquake watch. Alaska, I'm putting you on an earthquake watch. This is large seismic energy heading into Alaska. You need to very much understand what's going on. You need to have emergency preparedness kits at the ready. At any time. It might just be 2 to 3 days before it hits, or it might not hit at all. But this energy is heading into Alaska, into mainland Alaska. If it goes into the Gulf, it's only going to lock up even more, and then it's going to hit with a major earthquake. And it could hit there anyway. Okay? Alaska, I'm putting you on an earthquake watch for the next week. For the next week, 72 hours into 7 days. I don't think it's going to be any longer than that. Anchorage, you need to be aware of what's going on. Okay? You need to be very much aware of what's going on. There's a lot of seismic energy locked up here. And it could rupture. It could rupture. Do we have anyone here that has any questions? Aubrey's saying USGS 5.5, yes. But it may be larger than that. I've been too much worried about what that other earthquake was in California, a 5.4 large quake. That could also be a foreshock. I fully expect a very strong earthquake to hit in Southern California. And I'm talking a 7.0 earthquake in Southern California. Okay? But now, today, I'm putting Alaska on watch right now. You folks in Alaska need to be aware of what's going on. Your livelihoods could be in question. Your livelihoods could be in question. Make notes. Make an emergency preparedness plan immediately. Make sure you have an emergency go bag. Make sure you have an emergency preparedness kit. Know what's going on. Pay attention. Watch your news media. Watch the news talk radio stations in Alaska. If something happens, you will either feel it or you'll be told about it. And then you can take whatever action that you need to do. Does anybody have any questions for me? I've done all the talking here. I've been giving you information all night long. I wanted to end this question and answer session here with this earthquake, because I believe something else is going to happen. Southern California, you need to be watched and ready. You had a 5.4 earthquake hit last night in Corona, California. I don't think it's going to be the only one. I don't think it's going to be the only one. Do any of you have questions for me? My buddy Don Patoka, that I've known for a lot of years, and I'm so grateful for Don, he put up a chat here that's very important. Joel Skousen, who is the son of W. Cleon Skousen, the former police chief of Salt Lake City. Joel Skousen says knowledge will not save your life unless you put it into action. What have we talked about all night long? I've been giving you all kinds of information that could save your life. I'm hoping that you'll listen. I'm hoping that you'll put it into practice. You need to have an emergency preparedness kit, and you need to have that preparedness kit very, very soon, like immediately. You need to have your emergency preparedness plan immediately. Immediately, if not sooner. As I have been telling everyone for quite some time, do it now. Do it now. I'm not someone that's going to tell you to do something and not do it myself. I've been doing this very same thing for many years now. I'm a standing example of what I say I also do. I don't tell anything or anyone something to do if I'm not willing to do it myself. I don't operate that way. I never have. But I'm telling you, you need to have a preparedness plan now, if not sooner. Life could come here and bite you in the fanny at any point in time. It could bite any of us in the butt at any point in time. I want you to be prepared. That's what this channel is all about. Being prepared. Be prepared now. Be prepared always. Be prepared now and be prepared always. That way you're not going to regret anything that happens because you're going to be ready. How they keep dumping us off. Isn't that wild? They keep dumping us off. Maybe they're trying to give us a clue. Maybe it's time for us to get off the air now. It's already 20 minutes after 9 Eastern Time. 20 minutes after 9 Eastern Time. Diane Kelman says, Don and Ron are deep thinkers. So is Dean. I wish you guys could talk to Dean with conversations that he and I have had on email. You'd find out that Dean Catman is also a very deep thinker. Sweet Polly Purebred says, Ron, get your own server, and I'm just about to do that. I'm getting to that point. Yes, I've been talking to a friend of mine here in Morganton about having a server. That way I can do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. So yes, I'm looking at that. Seriously. I appreciate everybody who is coming here to talk to us and to get information. I ask all of you to please pay attention. Take into consideration everything we told you tonight. Do what you can to protect yourselves. Stand in holy places. Stand up for what you believe. I want to go over to Colossians. I want to go over into the 3rd chapter of Colossians, verse 21 through 24. Fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. Servants, who are we? We're servants one of God. We're also servants of our employers. Servants, obey in all things your masters according to the flesh, not with eye service as men pleasers, but in singleness of heart, fearing God. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord, and not unto man, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ. We serve Christ. Don't just be hearers only. Be doers of the word. Follow Jesus Christ. Follow Jesus Christ and serve him well. Brothers and sisters, I love you all. I've come full circle with this broadcast. You are my family. You are the people that I love and care about. All of you and all of your family members. Folks, before you leave tonight, give us a thumbs up. If you have comments about what we've talked about on this channel today, leave them in the comments after our program. And I promise you, I will, between now and tomorrow, I will go through those comments and I will answer each of your comments. Also, something else. I need you to give us a thumbs up, and I need you to also share this program with everybody you know. Your family members, your extended family, your neighbors, your friends, your work associates, and also the people you socialize with on social media. Share this program far and wide. There isn't anyone that doesn't need to hear this program tonight. We live in a time of trouble and turmoil. It's only getting worse every day. We need to stand together. We need to have the knowledge that we need to have to protect ourselves so that we can prepare for whatever happens. Stand ye in holy places, brothers and sisters, and you will be blessed. I'm going to let you go now. I hope you have a great day and a great night. If anything else happens tonight, we will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. I promise you that. That's what we've always done. Between now and tomorrow evening, if anything happens, we will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Tomorrow evening, Friday is Emergency Preparedness Friday. We're going to be talking about earthquakes. We're going to be talking about hurricanes. The hurricanes predictions or forecasts are already out, and I will share those with you tomorrow. I may also try to get Hurricane Heather to come in and talk with us because she has her own forecast, and Hurricane Heather is perfect. Hurricane Heather knows what she's talking about. Plus, she's good people. So, folks, we will be back here tomorrow talking about everything that pertains to preparedness, including emergency preparedness and what we need to do to be prepared. God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. That's been my prayer for each of us for a very long time. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side. Have a great night, everyone. God bless. I love you very much.